Hello, my name is Jimmy, and this is, well, the brand new Lexus RX. Being the 5th generation and Lexus's best selling vehicle, this matters a whole lot. This example that we have here is a Canadian spec RX 500h F Sport 3, which is basically the top of the range. It features a 2.4 liter turbo and a hybrid powertrain and delivers the best performance you can get out of any RX. But it's one of the 3 powertrains that you can currently get, and there's one more coming in the future. The base RX comes with a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4, making 275 horsepower. If you want a little bit more efficiency, well, there's a 350h. That comes with 246 horsepower, but thanks to the hybrid powertrain, it's better on gas. You want the best of both worlds, and there's this. And there's going to be the RX 450h Plus. That's going to be coming in the future. That's the plug-in powertrain, very similar to like the RAV4 Prime, as well as that, well, within the NX as well. But let me tell you everything you need to know, starting with the looks. On the front end here is distinctively Lexus. You get the Lexus spindle grille. Being the top trim here, I do have these triple pod LED headlamps and a more aggressive front bumper. If you choose a non-F Sport version, you get a different front bumper and grille instead. On the side of the RX 500 here, we get these 21-inch wheels. They are absolutely massive, and just as massive, the brakes behind them. Those look absolutely tremendous. You get some blacked out trims like the door caps as well as the top roof rails. Because it is a newer Lexus product, you also get, well, these electronic door pulls, so they don't actually, well, pull like a door handle would. There's actually a little button behind it. This might take you just a bit to, well, get used to, but after you do, it's going to be fine. You also get proximity door locks, so you can lock and unlock the doors from the front or the rear of the vehicle. Moving to the back, we got this full width LED light bar. I absolutely love the look of this. And you get some sportier elements like, well, the roof spoiler and of course these funky rear bumper. Overall, the RX, well, it looks like an RX. If we park it next to the older generation here, you can see that, well, there's a lot of similarities, especially on this rear 3/4. This element has remained. It's not so much a revolution as it is an evolution, but that's totally fine. They're not trying to break new ground here. This, well, it matters to them. They need to make this just as good, if not just a little bit better than the previous generation. If we pop up with the trunk here, we get 29.6 cubic feet of space, which is decent, I would say. Some may complain that the load lip is a little higher, but there's a reason for that. Because underneath here, unlike most of its German rivals, you still get a spare tire. Yes, it's a temporary smaller one, but at least you still get a spare. And if you really need to, well, maximize the cargo capacity, you can fold those rear seats down with a button here on the left-hand side, and you get much more space to hold whatever you may need. But let's head to the inside. All right, the back seats of the RX. I'm 5'11" and I got enough headroom and legroom is pretty good. It's certainly less than the previous generation RX if I sit fully upright, but I can lean the seat back with a button here on the side, so that really isn't too much of a problem. The seats themselves, they're heated as well as cooled, at least on the outboard seats here, so you can get nice and comfortable. And you also have USB-C ports to, well, charge your devices, whatever they may be. You get really nice materials on the side, soft touch, and this suede, love that. And you also get an armrest right here in the center with the cubby, as well as your cup holders. You really get all you need. The only thing that's missing really is just blinds on the side. Most vehicles in this class and price range, well, you get those blinds. This is missing. It's kind of weird. And if you have kiddos in here, that's going to be great. Speaking of kiddos, I am a child passenger safety technician, and I was able to fit 3 car seats within this RX. On the outboard here, I have the Collect Flow, and in the center, the Collect Fünf. All 3 of these are in rear facing, as you can clearly see. So it's a great way to see just exactly the width of this vehicle. And because of that, you should be able to fit 3 across in here with little to no problems. Of course, depending on your seats. But let's move up to the front seats here. All right, the front seats of the RX, and well, I got plenty of room. Headroom, legroom, both are really, really good here. I'm 5'11", so it's really never been a problem fitting in front seats. But what I will say is, depending on your frame, you may not be the most comfortable here. As I said, I'm 5'11" at 180 pounds, and this seat, it's quite aggressively bolstered. I mean, I sit in here really comfortably. It's not like snug by any means, but if you're a little bit of a wider frame, you're not going to be the most comfortable in here. The standard RX is going to be much, much better. The seats themselves, they are heated and cooled, so you get that, but unfortunately, no massaging chairs in here. In front of me, I do get the newer Lexus steering wheel, and I personally quite like it. It does take a little bit of time to get used to, but for me, it's been fine. You get these two D-pads here on the side, and with them, you're able to control the multimedia as well as like the adaptive cruise control. Placing your thumb over it will show on the heads-up display exactly what that is. And if you press a button below, well, that changes the menu items. So it changes what those buttons actually do. I mean, there's only 2 pages, so it's not super confusing, but I can see some maybe older drivers not loving that as much as just regular physical buttons. Behind, well, that's a very clear, legible display here for all of your information for your vehicle. You got your regular speedometer, you can have your tach or your eco meter, you got your temps as well as your fuel gauge. It's easily legible. It's not something that's very distracting or anything like that. Unlike other brands where it has like all this flashy lights and whatnot, this, well, none of that. It's just there to show you the information you need to drive. And same with the heads-up display. It's a good heads-up display. It shows you what you need, but nothing more than that. For example, like you put it into a manual drive mode, there's no tach that comes up to show you when you need to change your gears. It's not designed for that. But you do get this massive infotainment screen right here in the center. I do love this display. It's based on the latest Lexus interface, and honestly, for me, it works fine because I live within Apple CarPlay, and well, 99% of everything I do, it's going to be within there. So I don't mind it. However, if you're going to be using the Lexus interface, it can get a little confusing. And because the navigation is subscription-based, some may not like that as much. Same thing with like the climate control. While it's on a screen and it never really goes away, they're not a physical button, which some may like. Honestly though, I've been just changing the temperatures ever so slightly, so it really hasn't been any problems for me. And I got my front as well as rear defrost with quick, easy access buttons right below. So far, it's been great. Underneath here, we do get your Qi wireless charger, a bunch of USB ports, your cup holders and everything. The shifter is now moved to the Prius shifter, which is a little different, and it'll take you a little bit of time to get used to, but it's totally fine. It's, well, a digital shifter that saves a little bit more space. Overall, this interior, well, it's really, really nice. It's nice and upscale, and it has good quality materials. It definitely still has a little bit of a Toyota vibe to it because, well, I mean, really, everything you touch is absolutely great. Well, hear this. If there's one place that I can find, right? That's just a little bit of a cheaper plastic and definitely from a Toyota parts bin. Is that going to make or break the deal? I don't think so. But what's nice is this dual hinged storage compartment here. Love it. You can have access on the driver's side or on the passenger side. How smart is that? Anyways, before we go for a drive, let's talk about what's underneath the hood of this. Being the 500h, it has a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder combined with 2 electrical motors. One is slotted between the engine and the 6-speed automatic, powering to the front wheels, and the other is powering the rear wheels. Combined, it makes 367 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. And with those numbers, this RX is pretty quick. A little bit of wheel spin and we're off. 0 to highway speeds in under 6 seconds. I mean, this is the fastest RX ever. So this, well, it's actually very out of character for the Lexus RX because the RX has never been about, well, agility. It's always been about efficiency because, well, the 350h existed. Still does now, I guess. But this 500, it's I don't want to think of it as a 500. And here's what I mean by that. The 500 in other Lexus products has always been a 5-liter V8, something that has an angry growl to it. This 2.4, does not have an angry growl to it. It just sounds like, well, a Camry engine. So that's really it. There's nothing that's great about this sound. So instead of calling it the 500, if they called it the, let's say, IS400H, I wouldn't be as well, just upset in general. But I'm not like upset. I'm not like angry over the naming, like a Mustang owner is over the Mustang Mach-E. I'm just a little sad that this is a 500. That's it. Because, I don't know, I just feel like when it comes to a 500, it should have a little bit more to it. A little bit more than just power. It should have, well, a little bit more agility to it, where it's just able to handle corners with confidence. Now, I'm not saying this is horrible around corners. It's just these Bridgestones, they just don't have that much grip. So around corners and even heavy braking, they let go before, well, other parts of the vehicle does. That's the biggest downfall. But that's a good thing, because upgrading tires is not a difficult thing to do. You can go to your local tire shop, get some tires, and, well, you have much more grip. And because of that, you're able to turn better and brake better. So there's huge benefits if you upgrade your tires. But I really doubt any, Lexus RX owner is going to be worried about that. And truthfully, I don't think a lot of RX buyers is going to be worried about just how this car, well, handles in that way. They're more concerned about how comfortable it is. And I must say, it's very comfortable. In normal mode, it feels like a regular RX. It's very soft, very plush. Going over a bump and you get a few bumps after that. It's very normal Lexus. If you change it into sport mode, which you have to dive into a menu for, which is, that itself is a little bit of pain, because the previous, there's a little dial in the center, but Lexus RX owners won't care about that, so they put it inside a menu. And within the sport mode or a custom mode, you can change how the suspension reacts. And with the adaptive dampers, it does make the ride a little bit more stiff. Just a little bit. But still, paired with, well, just very soft springs and firmer dampers, you still get, well, a little bit of that boaty kind of feel to it. It's definitely a Lexus at heart. Don't try to push it like, you would push a BMW X5. It's just not designed for that. But what this 500H excels in, and who this 500H is for someone that is looking at the 350H and saying, hey, you know what? I'm traveling on the highway a lot. And what I need to do is I need to accelerate quite a bit. And not only do I have to just accelerate normally onto a highway speeds, I need to overtake trucks. I need to overtake other people. And the 350H, now I'm not saying it's bad for that, but this 500H is just better. And when you have a better choice, it makes sense to get the better option, right? And that's where this shines. However, here in Vancouver, it's just not the vehicle for it. Here in Vancouver, there's not a lot of opportunities for you to, go into highway speeds. The highway around the city is like 80, 90 kilometers per hour. You have to go decently far, okay, maybe not decently far, but a little bit further out to even reach speeds at 100 kilometers per hour. Posted anyways. A lot of people drive over the speed limit here in Vancouver. That's just crazy. Anyways, but the regular 350H here in Vancouver makes the most sense. And that's the one I would recommend. At 88,000 Canadian dollars as equipped, yeah, it's a little bit much. But you get so much for your money here in terms of just overall, well, Lexus type of feel to it. It's a very true to self Lexus product. It's comfortable. It has ambient lighting that doesn't shine brightly into your eyes. It has all the comfort features that you naturally would want, but nothing that you don't really need, like massaging seats. How good are massaging seats in vehicle these days anyways? Most of the time, they just kind of move you about a little bit. They're not that comfortable. So why, put in additional things that can go wrong? It's everything you need in one. And that's why the RX will still, continue to outsell a lot of other manufacturers out there. Let me know in the comments what you think about the RX. Do you love this? Do you love the MDX, for example, which is very similar to, this price point, except of course the MDX does get 3 rows, whereas this is only 2 rows. But if you want a 3-row, just wait a little bit, because Lexus has that TX that's going to be coming out, has similar powertrain, actually a very similar interior to this, but in a 3-row platform. But in any case, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.